Okay, good evening, everyone. This will begin the hearing for the Rochester Preservation Board for the January 5th, 2022 meeting for the City of Rochester. And at this time, I will turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, Matt. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the January 5th, 2022 Preservation Board hearing for the City of Rochester. My name is Christopher Coretta. I'll be chairing this evening's meeting. I'm an associate real estate broker living in the historic Grove Place Preservation District. I also sit on the executive committee for the Landmark Society of Western New York, as well as serve as trustee on their board. We're meeting tonight under extraordinary circumstances. Due to state and local emergency orders requiring social distancing, we amended the Rochester Preservation Board bylaws to allow us to conduct this hearing as authorized by the governor's and mayor's emergency orders, and to waive other requirements in order to proceed with this online hearing. These waivers permit us to hold this hearing by teleconference with no in-person attendance, allow applicant presentations by teleconference, and require all public comments, both in favor of and opposed to the application, to be submitted in writing, by email, or by hard copy document mailed to the zoning office, or deposited in the secure drop box located in the link entrance of City Hall. All written public comments were all required to be submitted by 5 p.m. yesterday. Although this hearing has been altered for some of our normal procedures, many things remain the same. All the normal notifications for this hearing, including mailed notice, publication, and posting of notice, were followed. All the normal timeframes for applicant presentations and comments in favor of and opposed to the application remain the same. And most importantly, this board will hear, review, and make decisions about all the applications with the same diligence and using the same standards as required by the zoning code. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that when a case is called, the applicant will be allowed 15 minutes to present. The applications are posted on the city website and available for the public to review. All applicants were advised to ensure that their applications were complete and included all information that they intend to present at this hearing tonight. As the application is presented, staff will, as reasonably as possible, show the pages of the application the applicant is addressing. Following our normal procedure, the board members may ask the applicant questions. If during the hearing the board determines that the substantial new evidence, if during the hearing the board determines that substantial new evidence has been submitted by the applicant during the presentation or is given in response to questions by the board, the case will be adjourned to the next announced hearing date to allow the public to review that new evidence and to submit additional comments. After the applicant's presentation is completed, staff will read into record any comments received after the comment deadline that are not already posted on the city website. After all comments have been read, the applicant will have 5 minutes to offer any testimony and rebuttal. The board will commence deliberations and voting after the public hearing of each agenda item, with the exception of any applications that are being adjourned. Please also note that if your case is approved today, a written decision will be mailed to you within 15 business days. The decision will inform you of the next steps to complete the approval process. Before we open the first case, please note that we're all volunteers. I'd like each board member to confirm their presence for purposes of establishing a quorum for this hearing and to introduce themselves and mention their area of expertise. Before I call on each board member, I do want to mention that there are 4 board members this evening. That means we need 4 for a quorum. That means that all applications or votes would have to be unanimous. And if an applicant would choose to hold, they may do. I'll go over that before each deliberation. Now I'll call on the board members in alphabetical order. We'll start with Gerald Gamm.
Good evening, everybody. I am a resident of the East Avenue Preservation District. We own an old house, and I'm a professor at the University of Rochester teaching political science and history.
Thank you, Gerald. Next would be our new member, Victor Sanchez.
Good evening, everyone. Victor Sanchez. I'm a planning and construction project manager, and I also serve on the Preservation Advisory Committee for the Landmark Society of Western New York.
Thank you, Victor, and welcome on board. And Kirsten Solberg, who is our vice chair.
Good evening. I'm an architect and I live in the Browncroft neighborhood.
Thanks, Kirsten. And now staff, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Simonis. I am a staff member in the zoning office. Tom?
Tom Worth from the Law Department. Serves as co-counsel of the board with Andrew.
Evening. I'm Andrew Creary. I am also in the Law Department and co-counsel to the board with Tom.
I did want to mention, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it looks like Bill Marshall's with us, our other new board member. Very exciting. Bill, did you want to introduce yourself quickly?
I think he's still setting up. Let's give him
Okay.
a few minutes.
Great. We'll continue on with staff.
Okay, I'm Roseanne Khalil. I'm the manager of zoning for the city of Rochester, and I think that leaves you, Kate.
Hi, Kate Powers. I'm a support staff member for the Rochester Preservation Board in the zoning division.
And then Bill Marshall, when he gets going, we could have him introduce himself, which actually changes what I said about there being only 4 members. Now there are 5. So it does not have to be a unanimous vote. We can wait, or we can start the first case. Matthew, what are your thoughts?
Let me see. Bill, are you able to, is your audio on? Let me just check and see if his audio comes in. It looks like he's trying to connect right now. Looks like it's going in and out. Hold on one second. And if it doesn't work, we'll get started. Bill, can you hear me? Bill, are you able to hear the meeting? Okay, I'm gonna guess it's going in and out based on the video and the audio. So let's do this. Let me introduce the first case, and we'll have the first applicant begin presenting. Bill, if you could do me a favor, just whenever you get, whenever your audio becomes situated that you're able to hear everything, just let us know. Kate, if you could just maybe send him a message and we can hopefully work it that way. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so we will get started with case number 1, which is file number A-029-2122. It's a certificate of appropriateness located at 951 Park Avenue. The property is located in the R1 Low Density Residential District, as well as the East Avenue Preservation District. The applicant is the property owner, John Cake, and the purpose is to replace first and second floor windows on an existing 2-story addition at the rear of a single-family dwelling. And we have John with us, and he is on.
Okay, great. I will swear you in just 1 minute, John. I did want to just mention that all board members have visited the site. And do you, John Cake, solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do so affirm, yes.
Great. Thank you very much. And we're ready for your application.
Okay, thank you. And good evening, everyone. The house was built in 1908. Shortly thereafter, a 2-story, oddly enough, steel and concrete addition was put on the back of the house. Sometime in the last, I believe in the last 10 years, the windows on that porch were replaced. Clearly, the second floor windows that you see there are actually not windows, they're storm sash, are of very recent vintage, also according to the observation of our next door neighbor, was done fairly recently, say within the last 10 years. The first floor windows, I want to say, are in excellent condition. I don't think they're original to the building. They are, I'll start with detailed description of them. They're actually fixed sash that designed to be removed, judging from the hardware that's on them. So they're hinge in paired panels. Yeah, thank you, Matt, for putting that image up. This tells the whole story. So you can, in theory, with little work, remove them, but you can't open them. And they'd be difficult to attach storm sash to, because the casing for the window, as you can see, is the full 12-foot wide and 6 feet high. They are in good condition. They are single pane glass. I have included in this application the request to replace them. I think that's something that I would accept from the board if this is an objection as a separate application or as a conditional application. The real primary issue for us is the second floor. The second floor has no wood windows at all. There are no windows. There are only triple track aluminum storm sash that were installed without a building permit. That I think they're entirely inappropriate to the design of the house. They don't even align, as you can see, with the windows below. There's 4 sections on the second floor, 6 sections on the first floor. This space is bitterly cold in the wintertime. Certainly it has lots of ventilation in the summer because they have screens. But my request of the board is to allow us to replace them with Marvin Ultimate casement windows, which would have very closely match the configuration of the first floor windows in size and dimension and mullion spacing, and allow us then to have a room that we could condition and also have ventilation, and would greatly improve the appearance of the house. So really, that's my presentation. I don't need to really drag this out too long. That's really the issue here.
All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. We'll open it up to questions for board members. I guess we'll start with Kirsten Solberg. Questions?
Evening. Wanted to first clarify, is the door part of the application?
No, the door we're going to leave in place.
Okay. And just to clarify, the lower windows, ideally you would want to replace them with the same type of window that you're installing on the second floor.
That would be, from my opinion, the optimum solution. They
Okay.
would completely match, and then the house would look like a result of a piece.
Understood. Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirsten. Victor Sanchez, any questions?
Yeah, I just had one question about, in the application, it mentions that there's 2 windows that are going to be reduced in the vertical size. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit and how that's being done?
That's a good observation, Victor. Thank you for asking that. That's a staff comment, and I don't understand what it means. I really don't. I don't understand what the comment means.
Okay, Kate or Matt, can you?
Talking about in the staff report, Victor?
Yeah.
Kate, any info on that?
Hi, sorry, I was on the phone for a second,
You were probably trying to get in touch with Bill, right?
I was trying to get in touch with Bill, so
Okay.
I missed the question, so
No, that's
can you
okay.
just repeat it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
Victor, maybe I can answer this, looking at this. The first floor, west side, which is the left side in the picture that you just shown, we showed 2 windows there. We're actually, right now, looking at the house, there's 3. How about that? No, down below, first floor, please. If you compare that to the drawing on page A18, that was the comment. And whoever wrote that, if you feel unduly criticized, I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem.
Thank you. So that's the east side. Look at the west side.
Let me solve this. I'm sorry. Let me solve this by this way. John, are there any reductions in opening size for the windows? Are the proposed windows are all going into existing openings?
They're all going into existing openings. Thank
Okay. Okay. Does that answer the
Thank you,
question,
Matt.
Victor? But yeah, we'll
Yeah.
disregard that other comment and we'll say that the proposed windows will all be going into existing openings.
Yeah, thank you.
Victor, any other questions?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Is Bill Marshall on yet with audio?
Checking now, Chris, hold on just one second for me. Bill, can you hear me? Okay, so he's not responding. So we'll say no on this, so he won't vote on this case.
Okay. We'll
Sorry,
go to
Matt,
Gerald.
I'm gonna jump in. I did
Oh.
talk to Bill on the phone. He's not getting audio. He is going to try to call in on his phone so that he can hear
Okay,
and see, but he'll probably announce himself if he's successful at that. So barring that, I would just keep going.
perfect.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Roseanne.
Thanks, Roseanne. Gerald Gam, any questions for the applicant?
Yes, I do have a couple of questions. John, thanks for the application. Thank you too for the work you did with the new heating system on the side of the house. I actually think that turned out well. Okay, so questions. Number one, except for the leaded glass windows on the house, when we get away from the porch, from the first and second floor of this addition, or the porch, whatever it is, except for the leaded glass windows, I think all the other windows in the house, the upper sash, the lower sash, are the same size visually. Is that accurate?
50% division vertically.
Yes.
I think that is correct. Yeah.
Okay. So my first question is, for these windows, why not do the 50% division? Why instead? What was the logic for making the upper portion smaller than the lower portion? Is it because it's porch and treated differently?
Yeah, I was trying to follow the theme of the windows that are on the first floor, thinking that there must be, if there's any historic interest in the windows on the first floor, then we want to try to respect the geometry that's there. I don't feel strongly about it. I think it'd be successful either way. You would probably, if I were to do that, I would probably suggest that at least on the first floor, that you'd have 3 divided lights on the top and 1 on the bottom, instead of just stretching the geometry of the upper lights. All through the house, they're pretty much 9 inches by 13 inches or close to that. And if we stretch it down, divide at the 50% point, it might offer the opportunity to do 3.
Do you mean, when you say 3, do you mean 6?
6, sorry, 6.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was just making sure. I haven't done math in a while. So
The other thing too, one nice thing about the division that's there now is that a normal height person's eye level, or maybe it's because I'm relatively short, you can see straight out. You don't have to look through a muntin at eye level. So
yes,
that's kind of a nice feature.
No, and I appreciate that. The only thing I was noticing is that the windows on, and actually, Matt, if you could go back to the photograph, the thing I was noticing is that the windows on the house all look different. And obviously the storm windows on the second floor look different from the windows beneath. But if we look at the house, most of the windows on the house are divided 50-50. These aren't. And the other question I have is the first floor windows, again, except for the leaded glass, don't have any kinds of divisions. The first floor windows are all 1/1. So I was wondering if there was a particular reason you decided, if you were redoing all these windows, not to follow the 1/1 that we see on the first floor, and then 6/1 that we see on the second floor, but instead to introduce this different kind of window design that I admit is already there on the first floor.
Yeah. Well, I think the divisions as shown in my application really provides some texture and surface to the application, to the building, as opposed to fewer, larger sash. I just think it certainly would have a different appearance. I don't think it would be as interesting.
Yeah, and I do see, I mean, an argument is to treat these windows differently because this is a distinct part of the house. Okay, so that was my main question. My only other question is about the nature of the windows themselves. What is the material? Are they wood windows? Are
Yeah,
they?
these are Marvin wooden windows, aluminum cover over them, over the exterior face only.
Okay, so they're
Paint them
aluminum clad, I'm sorry, they're
Aluminum.
aluminum clad wood?
That's correct.
And are the lights true divided lights where
Well,
the,
there's a drawing of it, the next page, Matt,
okay,
there.
divided.
Those are the detail.
Okay, so they're not true divided.
No,
No, so you
Not
have a
in the-
single pane of glass and then just a grid that's going on the outside and a grid that goes on the inside.
that's correct.
Okay, is there any particular reason you didn't choose to go with true divided lights?
There's tremendous sort of durability and operational advantages to doing this. More energy efficient, there's less maintenance. They last longer. They're certainly much more economical. I don't know that Marvin would even make full divided light windows in this level of complexity.
Okay, John, that actually helps a lot. And just one of the reasons I'm asking is we had a window case either at the last meeting or the meeting before where they were putting in new windows and we actually did require the true divided lights. So I just wanted to understand why you were making this proposal.
Thank
you. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is Bill Marshall on yet?
We're going to have to forego him participating in this one anyway, because so we'll just
Wasn't
make
able to
sure
hear.
whether he's on board in the next matter.
Okay. I'm next for questions. I really don't have any. Gerald asked the questions that I had, but yeah, thank you very much. No questions. Any other members have any other questions before we go on to any public comments?
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
What are the windows that are in there now true divided lights?
Yes, they are.
All right.
First floor. On the first floor. Yes.
Yeah, and then on the second.
On the second
well,
floor.
they're not. Yeah, we just got the two sashes. Sorry. And you mentioned that you believe that the second floor windows are not original, that they were replaced according to a neighbor about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to clarify. I don't consider them to be windows at all. They're storm sash. There's
Okay,
no.
well, I mean, whatever you call them, they're not. Are they original?
No.
And then you mentioned that maybe the first floor windows are not original either.
I'm looking at the condition of these windows and thinking that they couldn't possibly be 110 years old. But that's a judgment call. I have no records. The city has no records. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if we have no further questions, Matt, back to you. Do you have any public testimony for us?
No, there's no public testimony, just the ABC Streets Neighborhood Association comment that was included in the staff report.
Okay, great. Very good. I guess then at this point, we'll close the case. And did you want to talk about deliberations, Matt?
Yes. So at this time, the public hearing portion for 951 Park Avenue has been closed. The board will now move into deliberations where they will deliberate the case and render a decision. And at this time, there is no participation by the applicant, members of the public, or members of the public.
Okay, thanks, Matt. I'm sorry to bounce around regarding our attendance, but with this case, there are, again, only 4 of us. So we would have to vote unanimously for it. I did want to give Mr. Cake the opportunity to potentially hold this until the next meeting if he'd like, if there are more members on at that time. Mr. Cake, are you there?
You know what? He would have been moved over
Hey,
back
muted.
to an attendee.
Okay.
Hold on one second. If the board wants to give him that opportunity, hold on one second. I can move him back over. Hey, John,
No,
so,
I understand the question. No, I would prefer the board to proceed, please.
Okay, thank you. All
Thanks,
right,
John.
great. Then we will deliberate. Let's start with Kirsten. Your thoughts, please.
My thoughts. I think the uppers, at least for me, are a no-brainer. I would approve them per the proposal. I support what's in the application. I don't think that the upper windows are not original. They're not truly windows as stated. I'm okay with the layout, the 4/1. I think that it's appropriate for a porch, given they're a different size in the rest of the house. I'm okay with the divided light. It is considered a divided light, even though it's not a true divided light, and we've approved those many times before. The good quality window. Lower floor, I'd like to hear what the rest of the board says. I think a good part of me would support replacing these windows, only in that they really cannot have storms made for them, and that it would give us a full match upper and lower. But I'd like to hear what the rest of the board says about the lower.
Thank you. Victor, what are your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Kirsten on the second floor. I think that makes a lot of sense. On the first floor, I would definitely agree with replacing them, just so that it does have a consistency throughout both stories. But other than that, yeah, definitely agree with approving.
Okay, great. Thank you. Gerald Gam, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, so we normally cannot approve the replacement of original windows unless there's a finding that they can't be repaired. But I'm okay with replacing these first 4 windows for 2 reasons. Number one, it's not clear that they are original. We have testimony from the homeowner that he doesn't think they are original. But number 2, they're non-functional. And I think it is a legitimate request by a homeowner to say, even if these windows were original, we don't think they are, but even if they were original, I really would like windows that open. And the testimony here is that these windows are stuck on. They can be taken off and replaced with screens, but you can't replace them with screens permanently for summer without doing damage to furniture that's inside. So I think that we've gotten a very strong case for replacing the first 4 windows. I agree with Victor and Kirsten. The replacement of the second 4 windows is a no-brainer, since we actually don't really have windows there. I appreciate the explanation of the window design. I'm fine with the window design. The window material is appropriate. I'd prefer true divided lights, and we did make that decision for a house in a meeting not long ago, but this is a porch, and I am willing to support the argument for the visual divided lights that's being made in this case. Bottom line, I support the application.
Okay, thank you. Overall, I support the application too. I really would like to see the divided lights. I know for a fact, though, that Marvin does do true divided lights. I actually bought some myself at one point. I think that would make a big difference. But I probably could go either way, but I would, in a perfect world, I'd like to see true divided lights, and I would be in support of everything else of within the application.
I mean, to be clear, I have a strong preference for true divided lights.
Yeah, as do I.
I have a preference. I just know that we've had plenty of cases that we've allowed for this to happen. So I have a hard time. In the last case that we did, I can't remember what it was, but we had some kind of a trade-off that we agreed.
It was, you did a trade-off for single hung windows.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was kind of,
yeah, it was.
And it is a porch in the rear. Not that that's everything,
but all the details on this house in particular, they've done a beautiful job with it. All the details in this house are, really well done and quite historic.
But I think Kirsten's making a good point. We have never, until that one house, we've never required true divided lights. And I think that one house was a trade-off, in part because we agreed to the single hung windows, and in part because we had previously agreed to replace original windows on the first floor. So I would treat the last case, the previous case, as an exception. I don't think we've otherwise insisted on true divided lights.
Well, yeah, I mean, every case is different, right? So I don't know if that holds any water, but.
So one of the other things I want to mention, and you all would be the expert here, but I'm just going to bring this back up. So it's my understanding, and again, you may all know better, but it's not just a simulated on the exterior. It's not a full division on the inside, but is there some sort of division? That's my understanding. No?
Yes,
No,
there
well-
is. There is. It'll cast a shadow as though the pane of glass is not broken, but there is. I don't have to aluminum.
It's more than just the exterior.
Right.
There is something on the interior.
It's not like a plastic or just an applique. Well, it is, but there's an additional third piece.
Correct. It's the application on the exterior.
So you
plus
get a
the-
true shadow line is what I'm trying to say. I
Okay.
think from the outside, you would not know the difference.
Understood. Okay. I just wanted to make a note of that because I know sometimes it's just the exterior grid, but this actually has something to maybe give that shadow line.
Okay. Well, just in the interest of saving time, would someone like to give me a motion?
Sure, I'll give you a motion. I would like to put forth the motion for file number A-09-29-21-22 for 951 Park Avenue to replace the first and second floor windows on the two-story addition rear dwelling per the application as it stands.
Second.
A motion has been made by Karsten Solberg and properly seconded by Gerald Gam. I will call out each member and ask them what their vote would be. Karsten, do you vote yay or nay for this motion?
Yay.
Karsten votes yay. Victor Sanchez, yay or nay for this motion?
Yay.
Victor Sanchez votes yay. Gerald Gam, yay or nay for the motion?
Yay.
Gerald Gam votes yay for the motion. I am next, and I will vote yay for the motion. So we have a unanimous vote, and it did pass. Thank you very much for the application, Mr. Cake. And Matthew, whenever you're ready, if you wanted to call the next case, we're ready.
Yes. And so everyone knows if anyone's watching, case number 126 East Main Street was removed from the agenda, and the agenda was uploaded to the city's website. The applicant had made the request to remove it, and there was no public comment for the case either, so we do not need to open it. So we will get started with case number 3, which is file number A-028-2122. The case type is a certificate of appropriateness located at 16 Strathallan Park. The property is located in the R3 High Density Residential District, as well as the East Avenue Preservation District. The applicant, again, is the property owner, Gage Bush, and the purpose is to install a pool in the rear of a single-family dwelling, to replace an existing driveway, and to replace and reduce the height of a portion of the existing fence, and to reconstruct the side stair and landing.
Thank you, Matt. I did also want to say that all board members have visited the site. And do you, Gage Bush, solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. Thank you. We're ready for your application. and
Before we
presentation.
start, can we just determine whether Mr. Marshall's on board?
Thank you.
Mr. Marshall, are you on? Are you able to hear us? And
I don't believe so. Roseanne had said he was going to announce himself, and he's not
Okay.
responding.
all right, sorry.
No,
That's okay. I
appreciate it.
will
Thank you.
contact him again, but I will contact him again, but he will let you know when he can, so he can hear you guys, but he can't. I mean, he can see, but he can't hear. So he'll announce it. I'll call him again too, just to check in.
Okay. Thank you. Gage, we're ready for your presentation.
All right, thank you, everyone, and good evening. My name is Gage Bush. I own the property along with Ann Nassar, my wife, and our newborn, who was just born 8 weeks ago, Gunner. So we are looking for a certificate of appropriateness for the pool, the landing, and the fence, along with the driveway, kind of all tied together due to the pool being in the back of the yard and having to cut through our driveway to be complete. We couldn't complete any of the other projects without the approval of the pool first. To get started, I mean, we have dreamed of owning a single family home in the East Ave area our entire lives. We're from the Rochester area. We were both born and raised in this area. Growing up as a child, I used to drive down East Ave with my grandfather, who was with Kodak for 40 years. And he would tell me stories about all the big East Ave mansions and all the big wigs who were all in those homes. So it was always a dream to have a home in this area. So we were fortunate enough on April 1st to close on this home. So we're very grateful for that. So to kind of go off of that, we're looking to start our family here. And this is where we're looking to plant our roots for the next, for how many years. So we are looking to start off with the pool first. The pool is a 14 by 30 in-ground Corinthian pool. If you go to page 16, I do apologize. My wife is quarantining currently, so I am on baby duty. So if you hear some crying in the background. If you do go to page 16, you will see we're going with a Corinthian model pool, 14 feet wide by 30 feet long. It is 7 foot in depth. And coincidentally, on page 18 at the bottom, that is the exact color as well, the swatch that's being held up. So that will be the color that we're going with to meet the standards of trying to stay neutral and not an obnoxious color, but also go with the fiberglass pool as well, due to being a little bit more sturdy and not have to do with the liner itself. So we will be going with that. In regards to the cement around the pool, it will only be 3 feet of cement around the pool itself. We don't want to get rid of any of the landscaping. The owner of the home previously was, I should say this, the homeowner previous to the one before, she was a master gardener. So that landscaping is, as you can tell in the pictures, is flawless in the summertime. And we don't want to interrupt that in any way. So we would like to get the approval of the board for the pool itself to fill that need there. And then on page 14, you can see more of the specs of the pool of what would actually be being completed. So that gives the whole 13-foot concrete that goes around, or 3 feet of concrete, excuse me, around the pool. And that is it. There won't be any additional concrete put in around the pool. No additional patios. We'll be keeping all of the brick patio that is currently there. That was actually original with the home, so that won't be touched in any way. So in regards to the pool, that's what we're looking to complete in that aspect. In regards to the driveway, unfortunately is stone, some leftover brick. The original driveway back in the day was actually 2 strips of brick that went straight up the whole property line, all the way to the back stucco garage. And it was a long L shape that went the whole property line, with a center of cement that went between the 2 lines of brick. Unfortunately, over time, it's just deteriorated. And it looks like at some point they decided to put stone over it and remove some of the existing stone that's there. As you can tell, when it rains, it's filled with water. It's uneven. It's actually more of a hazard than anything for my wife, especially carrying the newborn. So we're looking to just make that into just a concrete driveway. And as you can see, there's red brick trim around the property and curbing as well around the property. So we were looking to do a concrete driveway with red brick along the edge of the driveway as well to maintain the style of the home and the current look. Let me see here. I'm just bounce back 1 second. Let's see. So if you look on page 21, that is a similar style of what we're looking to do, but we're not looking to do the red brick across the middle of the driveway. How that is, it would strictly be just on the borders itself. to match again the house itself. And then if you go down to page 22, you can see that there's divots on the side where the cars are lined up. That's just a hole all the way down. It's about a 6-inch hole deep, and as it can be a safety hazard as well. Now, the driveway itself would go all the way up to that existing fence that cuts across the driveway. That is a 7-foot fence that was put there, and we are requesting to replace it to match the existing adjacent fence that is 6 feet in height. So we're replacing it not only to match the fence, but also to stay within the city code, as the previous owner did put that fence in there, and it does not match the current fence and is not to code. So we are looking to replace that with the same exact, which would be a pressure treated pine, 6 feet in height. And they actually come in 8-foot sections. So it would actually be 3 sections that would need to be installed there with a gate, which is already existing there as well. In regards to the landing that we're looking to add in there, if you can go down to page 24. On page 24, there is a concrete slab you can see that is next to the home itself. That was where the original landing was. Unfortunately, the wood was rotted. There was a hole in the top of the landing. It was also a safety hazard. So we did remove it just due to the safety hazard, and we did block off that door, so there was no access to utilize it at this point until we could put in new steps there to prevent any, incidences happening. So what we would be looking to do there is match the exact landing that was there previously. It's a 3-step landing. It's on page, I apologize, I'm not the best artist, but on page 27, if you can look there, I try to draw the best of my ability what it would look like there. So you'll see the house on the top view overview, that's the house, and then the door, and then it's 3 tiers. So there's a platform on the top, and then 2 steps that come off of it, and then 2 handrails that go off of the house itself. We still have the original cast iron handrails that were with the home, and we're looking to put those right back on. We are looking just to replace that with a gray Trex decking to match it's a composite board to match the side porch on the front of the home as well. It's about 5 feet in width. It's about 3 feet in height to get to that top platform there to match the home itself and stay within the guidelines of the city as well. Everything we're looking to do here, we're not looking to change anything in the integrity of the home. We're not looking to make anything modernized in any way. We're trying to simply just improve the home for our family and pretty much plant our roots here. So that is all I have to say, and I appreciate any opinions or options that you guys would, or advice that you guys would like to give.
All right. Thank you very much, Gage, for the presentation. We'll go down and ask all the board members if they have any questions. We'll start with Kirsten. Any questions for the applicant?
I'll try to make this quick. The driveway. My first question is, there is a cobblestone apron adjacent to the sidewalk. Would that remain?
I mean, I'm not opposed. I think it looks nice, so I would.
I do too. That's why I was asking.
I do like the cobblestone look. I would be totally fine with keeping that, honestly.
Okay. And then beyond the sidewalk, between the sidewalk and the street, that would receive the same treatment as the rest of
Yep. So beyond the sidewalk, it looks like it was blacktopped at one point.
Yeah.
As you'll tell there's water right there at the base. It's a very poor drainage. So yes, they would be lifting that up and making that just the concrete as well.
Okay. With the brick perimeter.
Yep, with the brick, if that was approved. Yeah. I mean, the brick isn't a yes or a done deal kind of thing. Like we have to have it. We were just trying to, again, keep the look of the home itself.
Understood. Then my other question is about the side stoop.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you had a little bit more information in the package, honestly, because there's really no understanding of the handrail that you're supplying. Even a photo of what that looks like. It's attached to the house versus is it attached to the?
It's attached to the house itself.
What's the stringer made out of? yeah, I understand there's a Trex tread, it's just missing some information for us to get the full picture. So that might be something we need to talk about a little bit as.
Kirsten?
Yep.
We were actually able just this evening to find some old photos, which includes a photo of that landing, which I think I can copy paste into the chat.
Yeah.
If that's okay. If I put it to everybody, I think then everybody can see it. The applicant doesn't even know. We were looking at the old. We were looking at the old. We were looking
Thanks,
at the
Roseanne.
old C of A's. We were looking at the old C of A's on this property after the chair's remarks, and we found some. It doesn't seem to be pasting for me though.
Roseanne,
I'm going to
if
figure
you
out a
wanna-
way to get
if you
this
wanna-
in.
Roseanne, if you want to email it to me, I'll pull it up on screen.
Okay, I will do that. So it's coming. Keep talking. It's coming.
Yeah, I think that's kind of just getting a fuller picture of what you're doing with the stairs. Like, how does that handrail? I understand that the stairs kind of flare out on two other sides, so I'm just trying to understand what that handrail looks like.
It's a cast iron handrail. It's actually attached to the house itself on both sides.
Yeah, but
There
if the
was no
stairs come
center.
out on either side, how does it?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to explain. I do apologize.
And
Yeah, it's actually bolted into the house itself, and you would have to actually hug the house to grab the handrail. There was nothing.
okay, so the whole thing is attached to the house.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then the treatment of the stringers and the actual construction of the stair, what's that made out of?
So those are composite board trucks.
It'll all be composite board. Okay. All right, I think those are my questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kirsten. Victor, any questions for the applicant?
Nope, Kirsten covered everything I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor.
Sir. Gerald Gam, any questions?
I do. Gage, first of all, just want to thank you. And
Here we go.
oh, I'm going to pause so we can look at the photograph.
That is identical. That is what it will look like.
And so the railing is actually attached to the house at both ends of the railing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it doesn't come out over the steps. It's actually alongside the house.
So I hate to be a downer here, but in terms of code, and this is outside our jurisdiction, if you're rebuilding the entire stair, I don't know if that's to code.
Okay. I mean, I'm willing to change it to meet whatever requirements are needed.
Yeah. I mean, our board wouldn't make that decision. So I think if we're just approving materiality.
Okay. I
Just
can meet with the city to change the plan on that if you'd like.
I would just check that out because it might have, you might have to reconfigure the stair and the railing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, Gerald.
Oh, no, it's fine. Yeah, I don't know code, but I was expecting the railing to come down. So as you're walking up the stairs, who was there? Is that what you were imagining, Kirsten?
That's what I was trying to understand.
Okay.
So I'm going to interrupt you one more time, Gerald, because I imagine that original stair did not look like that. You know?
Yeah, that doesn't look like an original landing for a house
Yeah.
that beautiful.
As you can tell, it's where it was rotted in this picture. You can only imagine what it looked like when we purchased the home.
Yeah.
Sorry, I won't interrupt you anymore.
Yeah, and it's not a question, Gage, but the observation that Kirsten and I are making is both of us think, knowing historic homes, that the original landing would have looked very different from this at a side entrance.
If we have better advice, I would love better advice on how to change it. If there's something to make it look more to the time, we were matching what was there. That was all.
You know, probably, and I appreciate that. Probably the appropriate thing is for me to ask questions, and then later on, we're going to get to the discussion part of the board, and then you'll get to hear us all give advice.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, no, Gage, that's fine. And I just want to start by thanking you and is it Anna for just all the work you've done with this home. It really is beautiful. Let's see, my questions, just want to confirm I understand the fence. So you take out that fence that's cuts across the driveway, and the idea there is to use the exact same material, exact same height, same design as the fence that runs alongside your property line.
That is correct, yes. Where we want to keep that brick walkway, like I mentioned too, and where the dirt is to the left of that brick, that will actually all be grass. We will plant new grass in there as well.
Okay, so that's my second question. So the brick that we're seeing here at the rear of the yard
Mhm.
is coming out and you're going to put grass there?
No, that brick's all gonna stay just right along the left side there of the picture where all the dirt is. That's gonna be all grass.
Got it.
It was
Got it.
never
Okay.
finished.
Okay, and my only other question was about the driveway. So can we see again the image that shows the cobblestone? And Matt, thank you. So two-part question here. One is, does the cobblestone go the full width of what you want for the driveway?
So the full width of the driveway actually does go a little bit, as you can see to the left there, there is a little bit of a gap. That's where the driveway is supposed to go all the way over to the driveway end, but the cobblestone did not go that far, no.
Right, okay, so I just wanted to understand that. So I mean, this is something we'll discuss as a board later, but I would either say, I would recommend either extending the cobblestone to that left side or maybe getting rid of the cobblestone, but that's something we'll discuss. And my only other question is about the brick border. I need to see what the other people on the preservation board think. I think based on my understanding of historic homes and driveways, a simple concrete driveway is perfectly fine. And I think a brick border like this is a little bit fussy. I think it would be especially fussy to continue it over the sidewalk into the area where the curbing is entering the street. So I don't love the brick border. My sense from you is you're not wedded to it. Okay. And so that's something
Just trying to match the house, that's all.
Yeah, it's something we can discuss at the board. For me, it's a fussy thing that calls a lot of attention to the border of the driveway when I think a simple concrete driveway is a perfectly fine treatment.
Okay.
But anyways, Gage, thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Gerald.
Thank you, Gerald. Gage, the only question I had was back to the cobblestone. Do you know if the cobblestone is original or not?
I do not, unfortunately. If like Gerald mentioned, if we wanted to expand it there, I would be happy to do so. I think it looks really nice. If I had the money, I would make a whole cobblestone driveway, but it's not something that's feasible for us, unfortunately. But I do not know if it was original. No.
Okay, it's a beautiful house, and you're doing some nice things to it. I don't know if you heard on the pre-meeting, but I showed it when it was for sale when you guys bought it. It's a beautiful house. Beautiful house.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I have no further questions. Board members, Tom, do you have a question? Anyone have a question before I shoot over to Matt? Okay, Matt, any public testimony?
Public testimony for this.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Matt.
No public testimony for this
Okay.
case.
Great, thank you. With that, we will technically close the public portion. And Matt, if you want to talk about deliberations.
Yes, so this will begin the deliberations portion for the case at 16 Strathallen Park. During this time, board members will deliberate and render a decision. At this time, there is no participation by applicants or members of the public.
Thank you. And I do need to say once again that there are 4 board members, so we would have to have a unanimous vote for this. And Gage, if you're still on, you can answer this. If you'd like to hold it until the next meeting, where there may potentially be more members, that's completely up to you. Otherwise, if you want to run with the 4 members, you can do that too.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay. Very
Thank you.
good. Thank you. All right, then let's start deliberation. We'll go with Karsten. Karsten, your thoughts, please.
All right, starting with the pool. I'm okay with the pool. I think that the scale is appropriate. The materiality is appropriate. I think that the concrete surround is appropriate. The driveway, I support a new driveway. I think the concrete is appropriate. In terms of the brick border, I can be plus or minus. I know we've approved brick borders in the Park Ave neighborhood before. To make it less fussy, you could do just a border along the length and maybe not along the short ends, just throwing that out there. I would support keeping the cobblestone apron. My guess, it probably is original, but I don't know. But then you'd have to obviously fill in that portion of it. Then if you get to that part, why not just tear it out and put another one in? But I guess I'd leave it up to the owner whether or not to fill in that gap with the cobblestone. I think it can go either way with that. But I do agree with Gerald, at least with the brick, I wouldn't extend it from the sidewalk to the street. I would leave that as just concrete. One item I have not a problem with, but I think we're going to find we probably need more information is that stoop. I would encourage the homeowner to walk the neighborhoods and see what other stoops on side entries are doing. I think that's going to be his best indication. I bet it's just a single run, probably with a metal railing is probably going to be your best, or even a wood railing. I would support Trex. I think that that's something we've approved before. It's a good composite material, at least for the horizontal surfaces. I'd like to see real material for the railing, but I would want that to come back in front of the board again. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kirsten. Victor Sanchez, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, so with the pool, I completely agree. I'm fine with it. I think that it's the size is appropriate and the materials, just like Kirsten said. The driveway, I do think I am leaning more towards just the concrete without the brick border, especially with having the brick board walkway on the other side of the fence, and then the brick is not going to match. I think, just having the concrete throughout is going to be a better look. The fence completely makes sense to make the fence match what's adjacent to it and reducing the size to what is appropriate for the city. And the stairs and the landing, the material I'm okay with, especially if there's already another side of the house that has that material, the steps in that same material. But again, I think the picture that was shown that was existing is clearly not something that is up to code. So that's also doesn't fall under us, but the material itself I'm fine with.
Okay, great. Thank you, Victor. Gerald?
And I'm kind of mashup of Victor and Kirsten. So pool, for all the reasons they've offered, I think the pool is fine. The fence, I think, is fine. The driveway, as I indicated during my questioning, I would strongly support just doing a concrete driveway without the brick border. I'm not going to veto the case over this. So if the rest of you really like the brick border, I'm okay, I guess. But I really think that a much more appropriate treatment would be a simple concrete driveway. And I think this is what Kirsten was suggesting. I'd love to preserve the cobblestone and see if it can be extended, but if it can't, I'd also be okay just taking out the cobblestone, letting the homeowner decide and take out the cobblestone. So I am good with the fence, good with the pool, good with the driveway, although I prefer that it be solid concrete. And for the side entrance, and this is where I agree with Kirsten, I would hold the side entrance and recommend the homeowner just walk around the neighborhood and, as Kirsten said, and look at other side entrances and other stoops, because the design that was there on the house is not appropriate for the architecture of the house. And that design isn't original to the house, not just that the wood isn't original. I think there was probably a very different kind of side entrance. And so I would invite the applicant to come back to the board after we've held that one piece, the side entrance, with a proposal that draws on the architecture of similar homes in the neighborhood for a different kind of side entrance to the house.
Okay, thank you. For the, in the spirit of saving time, I would 100% agree with Gerald. I'm okay with the pool. I'm okay with the driveway. I would rather see it plain. We'll leave it up to the homeowner regarding the cobblestone, because I don't think it will look right trying to piece it in. And yes, the stoop, I think you should come back for it. That's really it. Would
I
anyone
agree with that.
Okay. Victor?
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Okay. Gerald, would you like to give me a motion, please?
Sure. So I'm going to make a motion regarding case number 3, file number A-028-21-22 at 16 Strathallan Park, to install a pool in the rear of a single-family dwelling, to replace an existing driveway, to replace and reduce the height of a portion of the existing fence, and to reconstruct a side stair and landing, that we approve the application as submitted with the exception of the side stair and landing, which we will hold. And we will give the applicant as much as 4 months to work on a new plan for the side stair and landing, though we'd love to see the applicant sooner than that with a new design.
Second.
Motion has been made by Gerald Gamm and properly seconded by Kirsten Solberg. I will call each member out and ask how they vote on this motion. We'll start with Kirsten Solberg. Do you vote yay or nay for this motion, Kirsten?
Yay.
Kirsten
I'm going to
Solberg.
interrupt. I'm sorry. Chris, before you do that, Tom, can they put a time limit on when they can come back? As long as they don't build the side porch in the meantime?
Yeah, now that I think of it, I'm so used to legalizations that,
I think we
yeah,
need to
there
take the
doesn't
time limit
need,
out.
there shouldn't be a time limit because they can't build something until they get something approved.
Oh, I'm fine. We've always done time limits. I'm fine not having a time limit. So I amend my motion.
It's not cited, so we don't have to put a time limit on it.
Okay, so yeah, so I will amend the motion that we accept the application as submitted with the exception of the reconstruction of the side stair and landing, that one piece be held.
Okay. Did anyone want to second that?
Sure. Second.
Okay. So a new motion was made by Gerald Gamm and properly seconded by Kirsten Solberg. I will now go through and ask each member how they vote on the motion. We'll start with Kirsten Solberg again. How do you vote on the motion, Kirsten?
Yay.
Kirsten Solberg votes yay. Victor Sanchez, how do you vote?
Yay.
Victor Sanchez votes yay. Gerald Gamm, how do you vote?
Yay.
Gerald Gamm votes yay. And Christopher Coretta is me next. I vote yay. So that's a unanimous 4 vote. Thank you very much, Gage. We appreciate your presentation and the work you're doing on the house. Mr. Simonis, whenever you're ready, we're ready for the 3rd case.
Okay, case number 4 is file number A-031-2122. This is a certificate of appropriateness request at 657 East Avenue. The property is located in the Plan Development District number 4. It is the Rochester Museum and Science Center. It's also located in the East Avenue Preservation District. The applicant is the Director of Facility Operations, Tom Gleason. And the purpose is to remove 4 existing original steel frame single pane exterior window units and install new window units to provide a uniform window appearance on the east elevation of the Rochester Museum and Science Center. And Tom is here with us.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I did want to mention before I swear Tom in that all board members did visit the site. And do you, Tom Gleason, solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Tom, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. I do affirm.
Great. Thank you, Tom. We're ready for your presentation.
Yes, this work is part of our renovations of 3 different rooms in the museum to turn them into lab spaces to teach children and others about science. In particular, this lab is themed around technology and is being used to teach children about robotics and other aspects of technology. As part of the renovation of the space, we've been seeking to increase the natural light inside the space. To that end, we have added windows on the interior to a hallway space, and we're looking to bring in more natural light from the outside. When we were going through and performing the work, we discovered that 6 of the windows had been covered over by drywall. And when we uncovered them, we found out that they were spandrel glass underneath. We also combined 2 rooms that were existing that were separate into one big room for this technology lab. and the windows do not match in style. So we are seeking to have everything match. And over the decades of the museum, the windows have been changed to the style that is more in line with the spandrel glass windows. So I don't know what else you'd like me to say on this topic. So it's
No, if that's your presentation, great. We like them short and sweet too. To the point. Great, thank you. We'll open this up to questions for board members. We'll start with Karsten. Karsten, do you have any questions?
The windows that you are changing out to be non-tinted, the existing windows, are they tinted or are they clear glass? Because they seem like they have some kind of a tint to them, but I could be wrong.
There's a number of them that are non-tinted, and then there are some along there that, like, these are not even just tinted; they're just straight up opaque. There is no any light going through the windows into this classroom.
So it's all over the place.
Looking to have the glass replaced on, yeah. There has been a tendency amongst my predecessors to cover over some of these windows on the interior, and we are gradually going to be uncovering them again as I go through. I only started out on board over there 15 months ago, so I'm just starting my work.
I think that is, actually, we have a cut of the window, right? Yeah. That is the extent of my questions. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Karsten. Victor, any questions for Mr. Gleason?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gerald Gam, any questions?
My only question, and it's not even related to the window project, but to what we see on the screen right now. So my understanding is that at some future time, you'll be coming back to the board to talk about replacing additional windows?
Yes, there is currently no capital campaign plan specific to those at this time. But as we're going through and making changes, I would like to create some uniformity to the building.
Okay, so my follow-up question, again, not related to windows. The front entrance to the Museum and Science Center on East Avenue is blockaded. It actually, in this image, you can't see how it's blocked, but visually, as you look up East Avenue, there's a huge sculpture there, and it's very obvious that you can't walk up those stairs. I understand that that's not the main entrance, but there's something ahistorical about that presentation of the front of the site. I'm virtually certain this would have been approved by an earlier preservation board. I wasn't on the preservation board, but you know.
Gerald,
so
I'm gonna interrupt you, Gerald. I think you should stick to the case.
So
there's a lot of people
Roseanne,
here.
may I just ask a question of the applicant?
I guess, but there are a lot of people here, and we really should stick to the case.
Okay, so I have one question that, Roseanne, can I just ask it?
Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, you're coming back to the board at some future date. Has there ever been any discussion of maybe doing something different with the front?
That has not been discussed at this time.
Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
All right, and I would be next. Pretty straightforward. I have no questions. Thank you for the presentation, Mr. Gleason. I'll turn it, unless anyone else has any questions, I'll turn it over to Mr. Simonis for any public testimony or statements.
Testimony or additional input on this.
Let me just ask, does anyone on previous questions asked after they asked or whatever have any questions before we go to deliberations?
If who, Tom? I'm sorry.
I'm just wondering whether anyone has any questions after hearing others' questions. Just last call. I don't want to leave anyone hanging if they have a question that wasn't addressed.
Gotcha.
I'll take by the silence that the answer is no.
Okay. Then we'll go back to Matt. You want to talk about the deliberations, please?
Yes, so this will begin the deliberations for the case at 657 East Avenue. At this time, the board members will deliberate and render a decision. At this time, there is no participation by the applicant or members of the public.
Thank you. And once again, I will say there are 4 members. We need 4 members to vote. They would have to be a unanimous vote. We'll go back to Mr. Gleason. If you'd like to postpone this or hold this until the next meeting, you're welcome to. You can let us know now. You may be muted.
Hold on one second. Tom might have been moved over. Tom Gleason, what the
I
chair
would
is
like to
just.
proceed.
Oh, okay.
Like to proceed? Okay, very good. Thank you. Then we'll start deliberations, and we'll start with Kirsten, and your thoughts, please.
My thoughts. In a perfect world, I wish that this was going in the opposite direction and they were replacing the windows with the existing pattern. But as you go around the building, you realize that 75% of the windows have already been replaced with what we see now. So I understand why they're going in the direction that they want to. I think that the metal windows are appropriate and in keeping with the rest of the building. I think that the clear glazing is appropriate, so I would support this case.
Okay, great. Thank you. Victor, what are your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I also agree that just moving to a more consistent look throughout the entire building is appropriate. So I would definitely be supporting this case.
Okay, great. Thank you. Gerald, your thoughts?
So my thought is I support the case. I support the application, but I share Kirsten's concern. I think that at some point in the past, decisions were made by the preservation board to move away from the original style of window and to move away from the original look of the front entrance. And I think it's a shame. I think it goes against the character of the building, but I think given that 75% of the windows have already been replaced, the appropriate way to vote today is consistent with what was done in the past and to support the continued replacement.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm next, and I would totally agree. I will support this case as it sits. Victor, would you like to give me a motion?
Sure, this one seems easy enough. So I'll make a motion for case number 4, file number A-031-21-22 to approve the application as it stands. Do I need to say more? Okay.
Oh, you're good. We're just looking for a second. Actually, I'll second. So the motion has been made by Victor Sanchez and properly seconded by me, Christopher Coretta. I'll call each board member for their vote. We'll start with Kirsten Solberg. Do you vote yay or nay for this motion?
Yay.
Kirsten Solberg votes yay. Victor, yay or nay for this motion?
Yay.
Victor Sanchez votes yay. Gerald Gam?
Yay.
Gerald Gam votes yay, and I am next. I also vote yay, so that's 4 unanimous votes. That passes. Mr. Gleason, thank you very much for the presentation and your work. We appreciate it. Matt, we're ready whenever you are for the 4th and final case tonight.
Okay. All right, this will begin the case number 5, which is the 4th case tonight, and the final case, file number A-032-2122. The case type is a certificate of appropriateness at 67 Atkinson Street. The property is located in the R3 High Density Residential Zoning District. It is also located in the Cornhill 3rd Ward Preservation District. The applicant is Danielle Turin, and the purpose is to install a solar integrated roof plus 1 Powerwall energy storage system. And we have both, looks like Peter and Danielle with us tonight for the case, and they're both on.
Okay, great. Thank you. I did also want to state for the record that all board members have visited the site, and I will swear both applicants in. Danielle Turin, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Peter Foti, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Great. Thank you very much, and we're ready for your presentation.
Okay, so I'm Danielle Turin. I'm the Senior Permit and Inspection Coordinator at Tesla. I do want to start off here. I see one thing, and I apologize that I didn't catch this ahead of time. I see that the request states that this is a 4.21 kilowatt solar roof. I did submit plans a month or two ago to increase the PV kilowatt to 6.16. I don't know if that's going to be an issue here because I feel like what we're discussing here is the visual component of this project so that it adheres to everything that the preservation district is standing for. So I would like to continue if you are open to me continuing to present that part of this project.
Danielle, let me ask you a quick question, and this is Matt, I'm staff. Does that change anything in terms of the layout of the roof or the size of the panels or anything aesthetically or anything size-wise?
It does not.
Okay. And
basically, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Basically, the only thing is that, so both types of tiles, the non-solar tile and the tiles with the PV component, they look exactly the same. The difference here is that if we're increasing the kilowatt size of the system, we would just switch out some of the non-solar panels to some of the PV component panels. So it has no visual effect whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So this is different from a normal PV roof mounted system. You've probably all seen the roof mount, the traditional panels. It's an actual panel mounted on top of the roof. There's a couple of inches of space between the panel and the roof. The panel looks very different from the roofing material. In this case, these are solar integrated tiles. So we are doing a complete re-roof of this house. So the entire roof is going to be replaced. It's going to be replaced completely with these solar roof tiles, some of which, as I said, will have the PV component, some which will not. But the thing about this is that everything looks exactly the same. So this is not going to look from the street like you have PV on your roof. This is going to simply look like a new roof has been put in. I was actually just going to ask you for that. That's perfect. So that's a great example of a roof with solar roof. You can't tell the difference between the PV component and the non-PV component. So basically, I just wanted to present to you that this is not going to have a visual impact in terms of negative impact in terms of, you know, everything that the preservation district is going for. Basically, it won't disrupt the character of the historic aspect of the neighborhood. It's very traditional looking in terms of solar. Basically, it's sleek, it's streamlined, it's thin, it's low profile, and basically no one is really even going to notice that there's PV on the roof at all.
So first would like to thank the board and staff for hearing this for being here and hearing this. Danielle, thank you so much for all the work that you've done. So the house itself, you're probably familiar with it. It was that it's not my primary residence, but I work, I'm an architect at SWBR. I'm also their BIM manager. And when I first saw the house, I kind of fell in love with it. If you look at really old photos though, it was like, it was falling into disarray. And a lot of the electricity on the inside, I had it all gutted and we're starting fresh there. And it's just, the house itself and the neighborhood's such a gem. And I think it deserves investment. And I think it deserves to, not just fall into disarray how it was. The chimney, it was straight, it was literally going to fall over. So it's been a slow process. In particular, I've been focused on the outside, because just the broken glass idea of, want to do the neighborhood and the house justice. But how I feel about, to give you a sense of what the current roof is, it's OSB and architectural shingles. My guess was it was probably done in like 1960, just because the nature of OSB and when it kind of came to the market. So this roof would not impact any of the original structure. Technically, I mean, even though it's adhered and it's adding value to the neighborhood and the house, it's not impacting any of the original, it's not in any way fixed to the original, the original house, and it's not really changing anything per se. that's original. And in theory, you could actually even remove this roof and, not hurt the integrity of the common bond, brick structure that's been there and, will continue to be there because we're only the stewards of these buildings. And so that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, I would, be glad to answer. And
All right. Thank you for the presentation. We'll go to board members and ask some questions. We'll start with Kirsten. Any questions, Kirsten?
Hello, good evening. One question. I didn't walk around the entirety of the property, but it looks like there's an upper roof and a lower roof. Are you proposing for all roofs to receive this material or just the upper roof?
Yeah, the upper roof would be the only ones with the actual PV panels, but both upper and lower would be matched with
okay, same treatment though.
Yes.
Okay, understood. And just to clearly understand, in the application, it mentions a power wall energy storage system. That's interior, correct?
Correct.
Exterior. No, the power wall, Danielle?
Oh, did you move it to the outside? I'm sorry, that might be my fault.
I think just the power wall is on the side of the house.
Can you locate that for us?
It should be on the drawing. I believe it's on the drawing. If you go to
it will be on the drawing. If you can go up to
where it says ACM.
Actually, it will be the ESS.
Could you give us a page number for people following from home?
I don't see pages.
Should be on the bottom right.
Yeah, it's a couple pages up from that.
That's what it looks like, correct?
That is the power wall. Yep, that's the actual unit.
Go down a little bit. That's like an electric meter. That's the power wall. So it's not a deep thing.
No.
So that's page 28.
In which it's mounted on the wall of the house?
If you can go up to the site plan page, a little further. Here.
Danielle, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it can be on the inside, but I think it's just.
So on this drawing, but and again, this is these are the 6.16. So you do have the correct drawing. So the ESS right there and the dotted line indicates that it is being installed indoors. Peter, if you want to change that, we can certainly install it outdoors.
That's great. I think how you designed it's great. So sorry if I confused things. I just
no problem at all. It's really not a big deal for us if you decide you change your mind and want it outside. It's not a problem.
No, inside's great. I think that's the better and probably what you're looking for. The preservation board would prefer, anyways, right?
That's what I was kind of assuming too. So
okay. Those are my questions. I have technical questions, but I don't think it's the time and place to ask them. But it's interesting. But
well, we got Danielle though. This is Danielle, where are you located? Just out of curiosity.
Actually, I am based in the Albany office, but I do cover the Albany area, the Buffalo office, and all of Vermont as well.
Oh, cool.
So I'm kind of all over the place.
I'm going to chime in and say if board members are interested in us circulating Danielle's information to the board, we can certainly do that. Then you can ask her many technical questions. I'm sure she'll be very happy.
I will ask my one question. I'm an architect who has only dabbled in solar, and I always think steep roof pitched to the southern exposure. This is shallow roof east-west. You still can generate, and I'm just curious, that's something that in our climate is effective. And
yep,
obviously,
absolutely. That's a great question. Sorry to interrupt you. So basically, when the customer approaches us, we do a calculation based on their energy consumption. We do measurements based on their roof and the direction of the roofing facings, and we calculate what their maximum offset would be in terms of their energy consumption before we design something like this. So in this case, like I said, I'm just a permit and inspection coordinator, but I'm sure I could find the details to determine what Peter's maximum offset would be, but we're generating as close to 110% offset as we can get. So it's anywhere probably from 60 to 110.
So it's based on the owner's, it's offsetting the owner's anticipated power usage.
Correct.
Okay, so that's interesting.
I also wanted to mention.
I'd like to bring us back to actually addressing the aesthetics and the historic appropriateness if we could.
Okay.
Sure. I have one thing I wanted to mention. Yesterday, an actual sample of a solar shingle was dropped off at the permit office at the city hall. So if any of the board members wanted to go stop by there and take a look at the material, it will be there for a couple more days before we come back to pick it up.
I do think, Danielle, since you opened up that window, that we should have Kate, just for the purposes of those who are in the public, we should have Kate show it on camera.
Okay.
So Kate, if you could do that. And could you just flip it around, Kate, so people can see both sides, just to be thorough? So it is approximately, oh, can you show the back, Kate? Sorry. Nope, maybe I'm on mute.
Oh, she might have had headphones in. Kate, can you come back on and show the back side of the panel that you just showed the front of or the top of?
Yeah, sorry, I can't hear when I don't have my headphones in, but yeah, hold on.
So personally, I feel like the texture, that the look of that is nicer than architectural shingle. You know, I could probably get a couple years off of this roof still and leave it, but I just think this product's very exciting, and I think on this house it's going to just really look rich and great, and you know, galvanize the neighborhood.
Could I ask a question that I do think is relevant to the materiality of what we choose in historic buildings? What is the expected lifespan of a product like this? How long does it stay on the roof?
So since it's a relatively new product, we don't know for sure, but we're anticipating up to 30 years of performance.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Kirsten, any further questions? Nope. Okay, well, let's go to Victor Sanchez. Victor, any questions for the applicants?
No, cool product, but no questions.
Thank you, Victor. Gerald Gam, any questions for the applicants?
No questions at all.
Cool, thank you. I have no questions. It's a really cool product. Gorgeous house. I love the house. I'm going to love this roof on it too. So does anyone else have any further questions? Absolutely.
Sorry, Tom Worth, Law Department. There's a depiction of architectural shingles on page 35 that look like it's on the lower roof.
No, that's the upper roof.
Oh, that's the upper roof. Okay. And is it the same type of architectural shingles on the lower roof?
Correct.
And with regard to, so we know you're going to put the power panel indoors. Will there still be required any conduit or wires going down the side of the house?
My understanding is no, but Danielle, could you weigh in?
I believe that you're correct that the answer is no. I don't see any of them on the drawings here. So that leads me to believe that we're going to be installing all the conduit on the interior.
Yeah, the interior is in a state of repair right now. I'm kind of redoing everything. So they have pretty, the wall, there's no drywall. They can, I'm sure they can get the conduit inside, and that's where I'd want it.
And that's what we've been tending to do with the new solar roof projects. Sometimes we'll run conduit on the side of the home with traditional PV, but with the solar roof, we like to keep it as clean as possible.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions from staff or members? All right. If not, we'll turn it over to Matt. Matt, do you have any public statements for us?
Comment for this case.
Okay. You cut out for just a second, but I think you said no. Is that correct?
Yeah, no additional comment for this case.
All right. Then with that, we will close the public comments section. And Matt, if you want to talk about deliberations.
Yes, this will begin the deliberations portion for 67 Atkinson Street. During this time, board members will deliberate the case. They will render a decision, and at this time, there is no participation by the applicant or members of the public.
Okay, and once again, I'm going to ask the applicants, let them know that there are 4 of us. It has to be unanimous vote. You have the right to hold this
Chris,
until the next.
I understand. And I've been wondering, I'm surprised nobody else asked this. If one of you guys decide that you're not happy with this, do I have an opportunity to come back to the board at a future date?
Yes, you do.
Yes, you
Okay.
do.
All right,
Yes.
then great. Then let's move forward, please.
Okay. Great. We'll move forward. Let's deliberate. We'll start with Kirsten.
I support this application as it stands. I feel better knowing that the storage system is to the interior of the house. It's not something we typically see, but I think it's as appropriate as a metal roof or any other appropriate material on the roof. And moving forward, I'm sure we're going to see more of this. So I support what was presented.
Thank you. Victor Sanchez, what are your thoughts, please?
Yeah, I also strongly support this. It's really exciting to see this technology out and being utilized, and I don't think it's going to change the overall aesthetics of this house. It's a gorgeous house, and I don't think this is going to really impact any of that. So I fully support the application.
Great. Thank you. Gerald?
Yeah, as do I. I completely agree with everything that Kirsten and Victor just said.
Great. Thank you. I also completely support this. Kirsten's right. We're going to see many more of these. This is a very cool product. How about a motion, Kirsten?
Sure. I would motion for file number A-032-21-22 to support the installation of a solar integrated roof plus the power wall energy system to the interior of the building, otherwise application as it stands.
Second.
A motion has been made by Carsten Solberg, and I think Victor Sanchez hit it first. It's kind of like Jeopardy. So I will call out to each member for their vote. We'll start with Carsten Solberg. Do you vote yay or nay, Carsten, for this?
Yay.
Carsten Solberg votes yay. Victor Sanchez, yay or nay?
Yay.
Victor Sanchez votes yay. And Gerald Gam?
Yay.
Gerald Gam votes yay. And I will vote yay. So that's a unanimous 4 votes. Thank you very much for the presentation and for the work, and we look forward to seeing it. That brings our meeting to an end. Matt, did you want to take it from here?
Yes, so that will conclude the January 5th, 2022 Rochester Preservation Board hearing and deliberations. Thank you all, and have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you.